All right, everyone, we're going to get some practice today finding quadratics from the sketches. So that's what we're going to do on the second half of this video. The first half, we're going to get some more practice with the given quadratic here in standard form, and we just need to go ahead and get a quick sketch of that. All right, when you're going to do that with these four things, finding the line of symmetry, the y-axis intercept, the x-intercepts, and the vertex. Okay, so our y-axis intercept, that's kind of the easy one. That's going to be our c values. That's going to be at 15, so that'll be at 15, 0. Okay, we've got quite a big scale here, so I'm just going to go by 2, so 2, 4, and so on, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, so 15 will be right there. Okay, our x-axis intercepts. Okay, I just need to go ahead and think about what is going to multiply by negative 15. I get negative 15 by thinking about this coefficient as negative 1 times this positive 15, so that gives me negative 15. And what adds to negative 2, so that's going to be negative 5 and positive 3. Okay, so I'll have negative x squared minus 5x plus 3x plus 15. Okay, so what can I factor out of these first two terms here? I'm going to get a negative x is what I can factor, and what I'm left with is positive x plus 5. What can I factor out of here? That's going to be a 3. What am I left with? X plus 5. Okay, so I'll have negative x plus 3 times x plus 5. All right, and I don't like having this negative x here, so I'm just going to factor a negative 1 out of this. So that'll be negative 1 parentheses x minus 3, and then x plus 5. Okay, so here I've got my my two sort of main factors. If I set both of those equal to 0 individually and solve, that gives me x minus 5, x equals minus 5. X will equal minus 5 and positive 3. Okay, so that gives me my my two x-axis intercepts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, my line of symmetry, I know that that is going to be x is equal to negative b over 2a. So in this case, x will equal negative b. Well, b is negative 2, so negative b will be positive 2 divided by 2, and then my a is going to be negative 1 in this case. Okay, so basically this is going to be 2 divided by negative 2, which gives me negative 1. Okay, so that is going to look like, real lightly drawn here. Okay, x equals negative 1. That's what that line's going to look like. All right, but now we need to go ahead and find our vertex. So I'm going to put this in vertex form. So first thing I'll do is factor out the negative, and I'll have x squared plus 2x. So divide by 2 and square it, so that gives me plus 1. Okay, and then I move this plus 15 off to the side here. Plus 15. Okay, then I got to think, well, I added 1, yes, but I actually, if I distribute this negative 1 back through, I actually subtracted 1 here, so I'm going to go ahead and add 1 there. Okay, so this would be negative, open parentheses, x plus 1 whole squared, and then plus 16, which means my vertex is going to be at negative 1, positive 16. Okay, so that'll be right there. And we can go ahead and connect all of our dots in the shape of a parabola. Oops, one more time. And there we go. Okay, so now let's go the opposite way. So we're given the graph, and what we need to do is find the quadratic equation in standard form. Okay, so here I can see my zeros. So this is going to be x minus 1. If I kind of use these zeros, if I say x is equal to 1 and x is equal to 2, okay, well, what's the factor going to be then? Well, I'll just go ahead and kind of give me a 0 on the right-hand side of both of these equations. So I'll have to minus 2 and minus 2, so x minus 2 equals 0. So x minus 2 and x minus 1 are going to be my factors. Okay, now if I go ahead and I FOIL these brackets, that's going to give me x squared minus 2x minus x, so minus 3x plus 2. Okay, but notice here my y-axis intercept is actually at 4, but this says it's at 2. So what I need to do is just go ahead and multiply by some scalar. In this case, that's going to be 2. So when I do that, I get 2x squared minus 6x plus 4. So we can see here, when we multiply by a scalar, that doesn't change my my x-axis intercepts, my roots at all. Okay, but what it can do is it can sort of give me that vertical stretch up or down. So it would change my where my vertex is, if my vertex is not on the x-axis, and it could change my y-axis intercept. Okay. All right, so next one here, we can see here I have one root here at x at 2. Okay, so that's going to be, if I think about what my factors are, that's going to give me a repeated factor of x minus 2, okay, x minus 2 whole squared. And if I put this in vertex form, I could think of this as x minus 2 whole squared plus 0. If I factor out this x minus 2 whole squared, that gives me x squared minus 4x plus 4. Okay, but again, I have this y-axis intercept at 8. So what do I need to do? Well, again, I need to multiply everything by some scalar. I'm going to multiply it by 2. So that gives me 2x squared minus 8x plus 8. Okay. All right, last couple down here. All right, so again, I'm given my roots here. I can see my roots at -2 and +3. So what does that mean for my factors? That means I have a factor of x plus 2 and of x minus 3. All right, so if I go ahead and factor this out, or if I go ahead and FOIL these, that's going to be x squared. So and then x minus 3, or sorry, minus 3x and plus 2x. That's going to be minus x minus 6, but again, I want a y-axis intercept of +12. I can also see that I have a downward facing parabola, so whatever my scalar is that I need to multiply, well, it needs to change this -6 to a +12, and it needs to make this leading coefficient negative, because when I have a negative leading coefficient, then I'll have a downward facing parabola. So I actually need to multiply this by -2. So when I do that, I have -2x squared plus 2x and then plus 12. So we can see here negative leading coefficient and then +12 for my y-axis intercept. All right, last one. So I've got my axis of symmetry is given, and I have one of my roots. Now I know that my roots need to be symmetrical about this axis of symmetry. So if I went 1 unit to the left to get one root, well then I need to go 1 unit to the right to get my other root. Okay, so that means if one root is at 2, then the other root will be at 4. Okay, if that root's at 4, then my factors will be x minus 2 times x minus 4. Okay, so again, I'll go ahead and factor or FOIL these out. So x squared minus 4x minus 2x, so minus 6x, and then plus 8. Okay, now I got to think, what do I need to multiply this by in order to get this +8 to become a +12, because that is my y-axis intercept, so I need to multiply by 1.5. Okay, so 1.5 x squared minus 9x plus 12 would be my final standard form.